Damar Hamlin is in critical condition after a cardiac arrest that happened last night during an NFL game where he got directly slammed into his chest. Okay,
we will begin this morning
video
with that terrifying moment involving Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin. He collapsed on the field last night in a game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and players from both teams watched as he was given CPR. In a statement, the Bills say, quote, Damar Hamlin suffered
directly slammed. No, he didn't. I mean, I watched the video. Yeah, it was guys. The point is this, okay? The hit wasn't an unusual hit. The point is that football in general is insane, okay? That's why I'm saying he got slammed. Like that, the fact that you guys are like trying to defend this as a normal hit is kind of the point I'm trying to make, which is that like it was a normal hit, but it's like abnormal to be hit like that.
A cardiac arrest following a hit in the Buffalo Bills game versus the Cincinnati Bengals. His heartbeat was restored on the field, and he was transferred to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center for further testing and treatment. He was currently sedated and listed in critical condition. Hamlin is just 24 years old. We're going to show you what happened, but I must warn you, it is difficult to watch.
I think people are well aware that we are finished watching football here tonight.
That stunning announcement came after a highly anticipated matchup between two teams vying for the top playoff seed in the AFC came to an abrupt halt Monday night.
I'm not even saying it's like an abrupt or like malicious hit, okay? Yes. I understand that this is a routine fucking hit for for football. Like I get that.
Wide open.
9 minutes into the first quarter, Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin.
He gets up and then he falls, and it's so scary.
Tackled Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins. Hamlin got up after the hit, but then suddenly collapsed.
And that is Damar Hamlin.
Medical personnel quickly descended to administer CPR to Hamlin. The Bills said Hamlin went into cardiac arrest, and his heartbeat was restored on the field. Players on both sides were visibly upset, some crying and others taking a knee to pray. Hamlin was then loaded into an ambulance on the field. His team knelt together in a circle as he was driven away. Hamlin is now at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center in critical condition.
It was so jarring.
Sam Farmer has been covering the NFL for 25 years.
It wasn't until you looked into the face of the players and saw their reaction did you realize that this was something extraordinary.
More than an hour.
So here's the thing, okay? Some people are saying that the trauma is just like unlucky timing. It can happen in other sports as well. I agree. For the record, though, like as far as football goes, if this shit hadn't happened on the field, and even though it did happen on the field, there was speculation that basically was that like they wanted to go back and keep playing the game, and that from what I understand, it was a players' union that stopped it from continuing. We're going to get into a little bit more detail about the hit itself, but the unique moment here is that it happened on camera, okay? It happened on camera. So what happens when it happens on camera is, oh shit, we got to take action for it, okay? We got to take action. We can't, like, keep playing. You make a calculation at that point where you're like, do we lose revenue here, millions of dollars of revenue, and take on the negative PR that we're going to get, or is the negative PR going to override the millions of dollars of revenue that we will maintain if we keep the game going? So that is a weird calculation that you have to make. What's even weirder than that, or what's even grosser than that fucking calculation, is the one where injuries like this happen all the fucking time, especially during football plays, especially off the field, or lifetime injuries like CTE. Okay? The game is insane. I mean, it's a very difficult game to play. It's fun to watch. I understand it. Okay. But like, it straight up is brutal, awful. You're not guaranteed. Your medical coverage is going to be, you're not going to have lifetime medical coverage. Depending on how good of a player you are, you're not even going to have enough money potentially. Okay. All the time? Yes, all the time. What the fuck? Yes, dude. CTE is pretty common. I'm not talking about the unique hit that he got, or not the unique hit, but like the routine hit that he got hit with that happened to be at a, like unfortunate timing with his heartbeat or whatever. I'm talking in general. What do you mean? Like, look at football players. Anyway, here, let's watch this.
Witness tonight is one of the most rare things we can see in sports medicine, as Damar Hamlin went down with what appeared to be cardiac arrest after taking this hit on the field. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Suter, and on this channel I try to teach you about the sports medicine world and give you some insight into what we see on the field. What we saw happen tonight is not related to any sort of vaccines. This is almost certainly something called commotio cordis, an extremely rare condition that's one of those things that we typically only think we're going to read about in textbooks. Essentially what can happen is if you have a blunt trauma to the chest that occurs at exactly the right time in the cardiac electrical cycle, your heart can be sent into cardiac arrest. As Hamlin comes in here, we can see this square hit to the front of his chest. We see him get back up momentarily before ultimately collapsing back down to the ground and requiring CPR on the field. This is a tracing of our heart's electrical activity. Basically, this is one cycle of the heart squeezing. It starts off with this P wave, which is the electrical activity of the atrium at the top of the heart squeezing, then the QRS complex, which is going to be the ventricles acting, but then the last phase is this T wave, where the ventricle basically depolarizes and kind of resets to get ready for the next cycle. For commotio cordis to happen, you have to suffer this blunt trauma to the chest at exactly the right moment, specifically on this upstroke of the T wave, in order for the heart to then be sent into this arrhythmia and subsequent cardiac arrest. This is one of those things that not only do you have to have a high enough force, but it has to happen within milliseconds of a time window, because if that impact comes at any other time in this electrical cycle, you're fine. You don't go into this. But
Anila, thank you for the 5-2.
when it happens at just this right time during this upstroke of the T wave, and if it's high enough, then you can have this thing called commotio cordis. We typically think of it happening in baseball players whenever they get hit in the middle of the chest with a hard thrown ball, but unfortunately that looks like what is most likely to have happened here with Hamlin. Treatment like this is obviously CPR and defibrillation as quickly as possible, because this can absolutely be a life-threatening thing. We just witnessed tonight is one of the most rare things we can see in
I'm pretty sure they said NFL tackles are like running into a car. Yes. This guy had this video ready in like 20 minutes after the injury. Most of the comments were calling him a fraud, saying it was absolutely the vaccine. All of us sports medicine professionals watching it happen in real time and immediately thought commotio cordis. People in here are like, nah. Yeah, from what I understand, there are a lot of people who, including Charlie Kirk, have used this as an opportunity to basically say that like it's a vaccine injury. Charlie Kirk got like 40,000 likes on his tweet saying like, "Oh, it's so sad. So many athletes are just dying suddenly. So many young athletes are just tragically dying suddenly." Claiming that the vaccine is the reason why. That's awesome. Like from snowmobiles? No, he's just basically saying, no, he's saying what a lot of conservatives have been fucking claiming. There's an entire video. Wait, I don't know if I watched this by myself. I don't know if I watched this by myself or if I watched this on the broadcast, but Dr. Drew too. Wait, he's an anti-vaxxer too? Another athlete who dropped suddenly? What? First of all, this shit has happened. It's an uncommon thing, but it has happened as far as I understand in the past. And also the idea that like athletes are fucking dying suddenly on the field is made up. That's not real. Like athletes are not all of a sudden dying suddenly on the field or in the fucking workout rooms or whatever. I saw a fucking clip. I think I watched it on the broadcast. Maybe I watched it by myself, of a dude who basically took a famous YouTube compilation of like people passing out during deadlifts. Okay. Very clearly from fucking years ago, like an old school fucking YouTube compilation of like people passing out during deadlifts. And they posted it talking about how like, look at all these athletes who died. It's the fucking vaccines. This happened in the NHL 4 or 5 times. All of them have survived thanks to on-site medical staff and defib. CPR timing is everything. Look up Chris Pronger CPR. Dude, the anti-vaxxers are so fucking crazy. Anti-vaxxers are so fucking crazy that like their immediate moment, like when a football player gets hit, which is one of the more dangerous sports, right? Like football is incredibly dangerous. Everybody understands it. There's a lot of invisible injuries or hidden injuries that you don't find out until after someone fucking dies, okay? Like, and you look to that where injuries are it's so injury prone as a sport that like your fantasy football league could be eviscerated, okay, with one accident. Okay? And yet you look at a dude getting hit in the fucking chest and passing out, and you go, oh, it must not be the truck that fucking slammed into his chest. It must be the vaccine, some other invisible thing. Like, in my opinion, when you denying empirical evidence is easy, okay? Denying science is easy because it's sometimes hard to fucking grasp all this stuff. But like denying the evidence in front of your fucking eyes, it's literally like watching someone get hit by a truck and fucking die in front of you and go, well, it must have been the vaccine injury. Just another vaccine injury. It's so fucked up that the vaccines are killing people. It's like, bro, you just watched it happen. Like, it blows my mind that these dudes are so fucking delusional. We've reached the next level of psychosis where you are basically denying things that are right in front of your eyes. Like, dumb guys look at that and go, yeah, that makes sense. That seems like a pretty fucking hard hit. I mean, that's insane to me, man. Everyone pretending like we haven't seen soccer players and athletes all over the world dropping dead suddenly. Like where? Wait, that's not. How has that happened? Where has that happened? Like they're making it seem like just randomly athletes are just dropping, okay? They're just dropping like fucking flies left and right. I don't understand it. Anyway, here's the Chris Pronger hit.
Got up, hands it across, big drive, and that one blocked and into the equipment of Jeff Portnoy, and another penalty coming up.
And Detroit's going to have a 2-man advantage for 10 seconds. You know, Pronger could be hurting here, guys. He took the slap shot into the chest. This isn't funny. There's a problem here. He took the slap shot into the chest. The trainer's out there quickly, and you can see with that slap shot into his ribs and chest, he's having some problems. And here comes John Wharton from the Detroit bench. Just very serious. And then he moved out and he took a slap shot really high off the chest. Here, right here. Here it comes. Boom, yeah.
Oof.
The left side of his chest near his heart.
Ooh, Jesus Christ. I mean, vaccine injury. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is the most common reason as to why athletes drop a sudden cardiac arrest. On-site auto defibrillator access has literally saved thousands of kids and adults. The bigger problem has always been a lack of access to proper medical physicals, but thanks to more screenings, we're actually seeing less kids fall with HCM than ever before. Well, have you considered that it's it corresponds to my agenda when I say it's the vaccine with no evidence whatsoever? I'm just saying. Never count on Skip Bayless to give the worst take when you need him. Oh yeah, I was gonna look at this. No doubt the NFL is considering the postponing of the rest of this game, but how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial for the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. That is wild. And he hasn't deleted it either. It's like, motherfuckers. I mean, to be fair, it is an honest response. What do I mean by that? You watch these dudes fucking plow into each other regularly, right? You watch these dudes plow into each other regularly on a daily basis. And most people don't give a shit about their well-being. It seems obvious to me. So it's just like additionally not giving a shit about their well-being. So brazenly, I guess. It almost feels like, when vegans will get mad at like someone attacking animal abuse, but they also eat meat. It's kind of like that almost. Like you're kind of the last person. You are being hypocritical. Nothing is more important than a young man's health. That was the point of my last tweet. I'm sorry if that was misunderstood, but his health is all that matters. Again, everything else is irrelevant. I prayed for him and will continue to do so. This has also been such a big deal for the last 2 decades that the sports radio stations across the U.S. advertise getting your child athlete screened for hypertrophic cardiomyopathy to prevent these situations. Yeah, but what if it's actually because of... What if it's actually because of the vaccine? I'm just saying, like, it probably isn't, but like, have you thought about what if it is? This was Commotio cordis. This has nothing to do with preconditions. No, the reason why people are bringing up the other one with preconditions is because, like, it happens during athletic competition when you overexert yourself. If you if you have a likelihood of this happening to you, okay, that's why they're bringing it up. And the reason why they're bringing up other situations is because, like, vaccine deniers will basically fucking use any opportunity, including other common opportunities like this, or other common sightings like this, to cut a stronger argument for themselves.
An hour after the injury, the NFL officially postponed the game. As fans filed out of the stadium, a group traveled to the hospital, lighting candles and praying together. Hamlin's injury follows other frightening scenes on the field this season that has put the NFL under scrutiny over player safety. Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa sustained 3 blows to the head this season, resulting in at least 2 concussions. He returned to play in 2 of those games. While the NFL ruled concussion protocols were followed, the league did make amendments to its policies in October after his first 2 hits.
This highly unusual and probably unprecedented situation of suspending a game will be scrutinized in terms of, could that have been done quicker? Should that have been done quicker? Should an hour have elapsed before that decision was announced?
We're going to bring in our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Jen Ashton, and ESPN football analyst.
There was a stream on YouTube yesterday after the injury with 1,000 people saying it was masonry that caused this injury, and people were doing a bunch of numerology shit. Yeah, that's awesome.
Edward, Jen, let me begin with you. What do we know? What don't we know about what happened?
Well, George, first of all, I mean, obviously everyone's thinking about...
After this, we're going to move on to the Logan Paul update on the Logan Paul drama. Okay? But based on... here's DavidShuster. Based on a variety of reports, the NFL did not make the decision to suspend the Bengals-Bills game. Rather, players, captains, and coaches from both teams who witnessed Bills' safety, Damar Hamlin, getting CPR for 8 minutes, said they would not continue the game. I don't know if there's like additionally, I don't know if there's like additional evidence to this, or if this is like another one of those things where it's like, this is an insane argument. It's right. Wait, what? This is literally a freak accident. I understand football needs to be safer, but come on, I think this could have happened in any sport. Yeah, I mean, it could have. It happens in baseball, from what I understand. It happened in the NFL, as we looked at. I mean, in the NHL, as we just looked at the earlier version. That still doesn't change the reality that football is insanely fucking dangerous. It's true. The guy who originally reported the NFLPA stuff. Per Big Sportsman 3 of the Tighten Up Network, the word is the NFL didn't actually make the call. The player reps from both teams contacted the NFLPA, and the NFLPA told the league office the game was not going to continue. Not anti-vaccine, but wasn't there a lot of soccer players having heart attacks in the EU after it was mandatory? No, there was one guy, I think. But he's old. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, that, like, where did that happen? Like, show me. Yeah, it was this guy. The day Denmark stood still. I remember this. I remember watching this. Christian Eriksen's collapse and the heroes who saved him. A Danish journalist recounts how it all unfolded. And he wasn't even vaccinated. And also, he's alive. Like, he didn't even fucking die, dog. And he has a heart condition. I don't know what the fuck, like... So, like, I don't know where these millions of athletes or thousands or even, like, tens of athletes that died randomly. It's one of those instances where, like, athletes dropping due to heart conditions is, like, a thing that happens, of course. Athletes getting, you know, absolutely obliterated and injured dramatically also happens all the fucking time, of course. But, like, there isn't even enough, like, loose shit that you can tie together. You know what I mean? Like, there isn't even a fucking loose string that you can fucking point to. It makes no sense. Like, I'm trying to figure this out, and there's nothing out there that is like, oh, look at the overwhelming amount of evidence. Even if it was like fucking, even if it was like people dying from the regular reasons why they die all the time, okay? Even if that was the case, like, it seemingly is not happening at an alarming rate right now. Like, there's nothing unique about this year or this past year with respect to, like, how many fucking athletes have passed away. No one blamed the vaccine when Tua was knocked out this year. Yeah, because, like, that's a very common injury. It's concussions. They were saying that the former UFC fighter Stephen Bonner died from the vax, but he was literally anti-vax. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. I mean, these guys are so delusional. Holy fuck.
Him and his family. I think we're seeing and hearing a tremendous amount of speculation about what could cause a sudden cardiac arrest. I think the question is, was this a primary cardiac event, like an arrhythmia or a hit to the chest? Was it a primary neurologic event, blow to the head, which then caused a cardiac arrest, or a combination?
So the blow on its own could cause it.
A blow to the chest, sure, that's called commotio cordis. A blow to the head, a sudden traumatic brain injury, obviously also could cause it. But the bottom line is here, no one knows. What we do know is that there was a cardiac arrest on the field and that CPR was performed.
Why would he be intubated right now?
So that's a big question that is going on in the lay public. It's pretty standard, George. When
She's lying. She's not telling you the truth about the vaccine. It's definitely the vaccine. We don't even know if the guy's vaccinated, by the way. That's another thing. Like we don't even know if he's vaccinated. It's going to come out that he's like probably not even fucking vaccinated later down the line. And people are going to be like, it don't matter. They secretly vaccinated him in his sleep. Like there is that reality as well. Like that he could be. He could be unvaccinated.
When someone suffers an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, once we can restore a heartbeat, there's oftentimes intubation to protect someone's airway, to make sure that they're being ventilated and oxygenated. And anytime someone is intubated with a breathing tube down their throat and then put on a ventilator, they have to be sedated. So that's where you're hearing that term, put to sleep. They're sedated while they're intubated.
This was great work by the medics on the field.
Absolutely. And there's always an AED defibrillator on the field, multiple personnel trained in CPR, usually a team physician, certified athletic trainers, and paramedics. So they had a lot of people to help them.
Herm, have you ever seen anything like this?
George, I have not had the privilege of coaching and playing in that league for a long time, over 30-plus years, and it was a little bit shocking when you watch the players. The concern for me right away was when I watched the players huddle and go to the knee. I knew it was more than just an injury. And listen to the doctor. This is the first I've ever heard of this, and I've been in football my whole life. You know, it's a violent sport. It's competitive violence. We know some injuries occur. All you want as a coach or a player, when a player goes down, you want to make sure he's okay. That's the first thing that runs through your mind, and generally that is the case. You know, a player leaves the field, and you know he's going to be okay. Last night was a sobering moment, not only for the team but for the fans and just everyone right now. And our prayers go out to his family and to all those involved in this. This was hard to watch.
Boy,
very difficult.
It sure does. What does this mean for the NFL? What does the league do now?
Well, I think the first thing you have to do as a league is really try to gather the players and to make sure that these players are spoken to. This is something that it's not what occurs. You know, you don't see this. You see injury, but you don't see this. And how they handle this mentally, I think, is very important. I thought the league was quick with their response. You know, the 5-minute deal. But I think after the players went in the locker room, it was more than just 5 minutes. It was, you know, we got to cancel this game. So the league did the right thing. There's no way these players were going to be able to go play a game after what occurred.
Okay, Herm, Jen, thanks very much.